Beloved soul, stop everything for just one breath. Something holy has been circling your life since sunrise, brushing against your spirit, tugging at the corners of your awareness, waiting for the moment your heart would finally be still enough to hear it. And now, here you are, drawn to these words not by curiosity, but by a pull you cannot explain. You felt it when you woke up, didn't you? That unusual calm wrapped around your chest, that quiet knowing that today carried a different weight. Listen, heaven saw what you did today. Not the part you shared, the part you hid, the part no one applauded, the part you thought went unnoticed. But God saw it, and He was moved. Chosen one, the gesture you made in secret, the kindness you offered without reward, the strength you showed when you felt empty inside, it touched heaven itself. You thought it was small, almost insignificant, but the courts of glory shook with joy because of it. God is not just pleased with you today, He is delighted, overjoyed, beyond moved. There is a smile resting on His throne because of you. Hear this, you touched heaven today, and heaven touched back. There is a breakthrough season forming around your life because of what you sowed in silence. A shift, a lifting, a holy recognition of your heart's posture. And before this message ends, I will tell you exactly what that means for your destiny alignment, your abundance, your emotional healing, and the new elevation opening before you. But stay with me, something deeper is coming. Jeremiah 29:11 whispers through this moment like warm light. For I know the plans I have for you, plans to give you hope and a future. Today, those plans moved closer. Today, God leaned in. Chosen one, breathe. Let this truth settle. You didn't stumble here. You were summoned. Because before we go any further, heaven needs you to understand one thing. What you did today altered your spiritual timeline. And in just a moment, I'll show you how. If this already stirs something in your spirit, does that surprise you? Should it? Before we continue, beloved, subscribe so your spirit stays connected to every word heaven is preparing for you in this season of awakening. What is coming next will speak directly into the place you've been praying from. Shall we go on? And as that truth settles into your chest, something else begins to rise from beneath the surface, something you've been trying to outrun. Because the moment heaven is pleased with you is also the moment the weight of what you've been carrying tries to speak. You know exactly what I mean. That quiet ache behind your ribs, that pressure you feel when the world finally goes silent. Chosen one, you've been strong for so long that people forgot you're human. They forgot you bleed too. They forgot that even warriors grow tired. You didn't tell anyone about the moment earlier this week when you closed the bathroom door, leaned your head against it, and whispered, "God, I don't know how much more I can take." You cried quietly, didn't you? Not out of weakness, but because carrying a divine calling while managing human pain feels like spiritual warfare no one around you understands. You've been giving, pouring, holding others together while your own heart felt cracked, and still, you showed kindness today. Still, you honored God when no one was watching. Still, you chose goodness, though your spirit felt worn. That is why heaven responded. That is why you touched glory. But I need to tell you something that may sting before it heals. You have been fighting battles you were never meant to fight alone. There are nights when you wake around 2 or 3 a.m., heart beating faster than it should, a strange fear whispering that you might be falling behind in life. You wonder if you've missed your breakthrough timing, if the destiny delay surrounding you means God forgot you. You've questioned your worth in the dark more times than you've admitted. And today, even as God delighted in what you did, there is still a shadow inside you that hasn't found rest. You've been faithful, but you've also been wounded. You've been obedient, but you've also been overlooked. You've been giving, but others have taken advantage of your softness. Somebody you trusted disappointed you so deeply that you stopped sharing the most fragile parts of your soul. You started keeping your dreams folded up in silence because every time you opened your heart, someone mishandled it. That kind of betrayal leaves a spiritual bruise that doesn't show on the outside, but it spreads inside like a quiet storm. And still, you kept going. Still, you kept serving. Still, you kept believing. But hear me, your heart has been carrying the weight of financial blockage, emotional exhaustion, spiritual loneliness, and the fear that your efforts aren't enough to trigger the divine reversal you've prayed for. You've wondered if heaven sees the little things you do. You've wondered if God notices when you push past discouragement just to keep walking. You've wondered if your hidden obedience even matters. Chosen one, it mattered today. It mattered more than you know. Yet even now, there is a tension in your spirit, a trembling undercurrent that asks, if God is pleased with me, then why does my life still feel so heavy? It's because you've been climbing with wounds no one helped you bandage. You've been walking through battles disguised as normal days. You've been surviving storms while pretending you're fine. And there is something else, a deeper truth rising, a pattern you haven't yet named. You've been feeling as though something is blocking your rise, slowing your path, interfering with the blessings that should have already reached you. You feel it when plans fall through for no reason, when opportunities dissolve at the last moment, when relationships shift without explanation. It's not bad luck, it's not imagination, it's not coincidence. It is the residue of a spiritual conflict still unfolding around you, a struggle you never chose, but one that keeps trying to dim your light, steal your momentum, distort your sense of worth, and make you question the very calling God placed on your life. And the part you don't say out loud, the part you hide even from yourself, it's the fear that maybe you're doing everything right, yet something is still subtly working against you. That maybe your destiny alignment keeps getting interrupted. That maybe your abundance is always just out of reach. That maybe you're trying so hard, but something unseen keeps pulling you backward. You've felt that tug. You've felt that invisible resistance. You've felt the weight you can't explain. And the truth you've been afraid to admit is this. You wonder if you're the problem, or if something is fighting your promise. But the answer is neither simple nor gentle, because what heaven revealed today, what God saw in your heart, what delighted him so deeply, is the exact thing that stirred the heavens to act on your behalf. And the reason that matters, the reason your obedience shook the atmosphere, the reason you touched heaven, is because something ancient, something buried, something tied to your next chapter has begun to move, and you are standing at the edge of a revelation that will explain every delay, every heaviness, every silent battle you've endured, every night you questioned your own strength, every moment when blessings were close but not fully released, every time you felt watched by something unseen, every shift in the atmosphere that made your spirit tighten, every sudden wave of sadness that made no sense, every time you felt God was near, yet your life didn't match the promise. And now, heaven is ready to show you why. It begins with a truth you've never considered, a truth that touches the deepest wound in your life, a truth about what really happened the moment you pleased God today, a truth that is unfolding right now, even as you listen, a truth that starts with the one thing you've been sensing but couldn't name, the feeling that something around you has been waiting for this moment to finally reveal itself, and that the joy God felt today began to shake. Something in the unseen, something that has been quietly affecting your life for far longer than you realized, something that has been waiting to step into the light but will only be exposed once you understand the depth of what heaven witnessed in your heart today. And that truth is beginning with the thing you've never had the courage to put into words. Because beneath all the battles, beneath all the spiritual warfare, beneath the financial blockage and the strange delays, there is this one wound. You do not feel understood. Not really. Not fully. Not safely. You can sit in a room full of people who know your name and still feel like a stranger in your own story. You've tried to explain what is happening in your spirit, tried to share the way your heart burns for God, for purpose, for destiny, alignment, and people smile politely, but their eyes glaze over. They say, "You're too intense." They say, "You're too sensitive." They say, "You're overthinking," so you learn to stop talking. There have been moments at family gatherings where you physically felt yourself pulling back, almost like your soul was inching away from the table while your body stayed seated. You laughed when they laughed, nodded when they spoke, but in the back of your mind there was this quiet thought: if I told you who I really am inside, you wouldn't know what to do with me. Your intentions are pure. Your heart is sincere. You genuinely want to help, to heal, to love. Yet somehow your kindness gets misread as control. Your honesty gets labeled as arrogance. Your boundaries get twisted into accusations. And that hurts in a place no one can see. There was a time not long ago when you tried to open up. You remember the exact moment. You started to share what God was doing in you, how you felt a spiritual awakening, how you sensed a shift in your calling, how you couldn't live small anymore. You were trembling a little because it was vulnerable. You finally said it. You finally let them glimpse the real you. And then came the look, that sideways glance, that little smirk. "Okay, prophet," someone joked. "Don't get carried away," another said. They laughed it off, moved on, changed the subject, and something inside you folded back in on itself. You told yourself you were overreacting, but that night, lying in bed, replaying the conversation, you felt it like a bruise. You thought, maybe I should just keep this between me and God. So you did. You learned to smile and stay vague. You started sharing the safe version of yourself. And yet, even in holding back, you still get misunderstood. When you pull away to heal, they say you're cold. When you're quiet because you're discerning, they say you're distant. When you choose not to retaliate, they call you weak. They don't see you praying for them after they hang up the phone. They don't hear your whisper, "Lord, protect their heart," even if they don't protect mine. They don't feel the way your chest tightens when words are thrown carelessly in your direction. But heaven does. God has watched you swallow pain so you don't cause conflict. He has seen you take the blame to keep the peace. He has heard every unspoken question. Why do they always misread me? Why do I feel like the problem, even when I'm trying to help? Why does love hurt like this? You've been living with a misunderstood heart, beloved, and it's exhausted you in ways you don't even realize. This is why the Spirit keeps drawing you into that hermit-like cocoon, why you sometimes feel the need to disappear from social media, why you stare at your phone and let messages sit unread, because you do not have the strength to be misinterpreted one more time. It's not antisocial. It's self-preservation. It's your heart saying, I can't afford another cut right now. So you walk around with this quiet ache, feeling like a foreigner among your own people, feeling like the odd one out because you sense spiritual things they don't. And when they twist your motives, when they say, you just want attention, or you think you're better than us, something inside you sinks, because the truth is the opposite. You never wanted to be above anyone, you just didn't want to drown. Listen to me. Heaven knows the weight of being this different. Heaven knows the cost of carrying a heart this soft in a world this hard. And here is where the hidden battle begins. Because when your heart is misunderstood long enough, when your love is questioned often enough, when your obedience gets rewarded with silence instead of applause, another voice starts to creep in. A subtler one, a crueler one. This is where the next layer of attack begins to form. Not just around you, but inside you. If any part of this is piercing you right now, pause and seal it. Go to the comments and quietly type, "God delights in my obedience." Let that be your declaration against every lie that says your heart is too much or not enough. That simple sentence is not for the algorithm. It is for your destiny. It is you signing your name under what heaven already feels about you. Because the misunderstanding around you has been trying to birth a new lie within you. It begins as a whisper, a passing thought, a soft accusation that sounds like your own voice. Maybe I'm not actually chosen. Maybe I misheard God. Maybe I'm just pretending. Welcome to the imposter shadow. That quiet, lurking feeling that you are somehow faking your calling. That at any moment, someone will pull back the curtain and say, "You're not that spiritual. You're not that anointed. You're not really called." You feel it when you step into a room and suddenly your shoulders slump a little, as if you're shrinking yourself to fit. You feel it when God nudges you to speak, but your throat tightens and you think, "Who am I to say anything?" You feel it when you get a small win, a tiny sign of financial stability, a glimpse of abundance, and instead of celebrating, you're scared. It's a fluke. There are days when you open your Bible and a verse lights up for you, and for a brief second you feel power, you feel alignment, you feel destiny breathing on your neck. Philippians 1-6. He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion. Feels like it's written right across your ribs. But then the shadow comes. You remember the times you made mistakes. You remember the seasons you fell back into old habits. You remember the prayers that seemed to fall flat. And the thought slithers in, real chosen ones don't struggle like this. If God was really delighted with me, I wouldn't still be battling the same cycles. So you start to believe that your calling is fragile. You start to fear that one wrong move will disqualify you. You start to see your life as a series of almosts instead of a story of grace. The enemy doesn't even need to destroy your destiny if he can convince you you're an imposter walking around in someone else's prophecy. That's why you hesitate to step into opportunities, even when they're answers to your own prayers. That's why, right when breakthrough timing is brushing close to your life, you suddenly feel paralyzed. You question every idea. You second-guess every step. You call it being cautious. But inside you know it's fear. Spiritual warfare isn't always demons in your room. Sometimes it's that subtle internal voice saying, "You're not good enough to carry what God just handed you." Look at your patterns. How many times have you been right at the edge of a new job, a new project, a new relationship, a new level of personal transformation, and you pulled back, not because God said no, but because you felt unqualified? How many times have you felt a divine intervention unfold, doors opening that didn't make sense, people favoring you without explanation, and instead of resting in it, you panicked, waiting for it to all fall apart? You've been living like someone sneaking around blessings they don't deserve, instead of walking like a child with a rightful inheritance. This is the imposter shadow at work. It questions your identity so you never fully occupy your destiny. And here is the cruel irony. The very humility that keeps your heart soft before God is the same place the enemy tries to twist into self-doubt. You say, "I don't want to be prideful." And the shadow says, "So don't step up at all." You say, "I want to stay surrendered." And the shadow says, "So don't ask for anything big." You say, "I just want God's will." And the shadow says, "Then you don't need to dream, but listen. God is not ashamed of you. He is not rolling his eyes when you try and stumble. He is not regretting that he chose you. Today, the very act that delighted him was not perfection. It was your yes in the middle of imperfection. It was your obedience in the middle of insecurity. It was you choosing to reflect his heart, even when you weren't sure your own heart deserved his favor. Heaven is not confused about who you are. Only you are. And that confusion, that inner conflict, that imposter shadow, has been doing something subtle to your life. It's been slowing the flow of abundance, interrupting your wealth mindset, crouching at the edge of every open door, whispering, "Turn back, you don't belong in rooms like this." Right at the moment God is trying to usher you into elevation, generational wealth, destiny alignment, emotional healing, a breakthrough season that would not just bless you, but everyone connected to your name. Because when a chosen one finally believes fully that heaven is overjoyed with them, when they finally step out of that shadow and into their true identity, when they stop apologizing for the light God put in them, the entire battlefield shifts. And that is exactly why what you did today stirred such a violent reaction in the unseen. Because the gesture you thought was small, the obedience you thought was ordinary, signaled to heaven that you are closer than ever to stepping fully into who you really are. Closer than ever to breaking the generational curse of self-doubt. Closer than ever to dismantling the pattern of destiny delay. Closer than ever to walking boldly in the abundance reserved for your bloodline. And the closer you get, the more this imposter shadow tightens its grip, the more old voices echo in your mind, the more memories of failure rise up like ghosts, the more the enemy will try to convince you that God is only tolerating you, not delighted in you. But that is not what heaven recorded today. That is not what the Father felt when you chose him in that hidden moment. And what happened next in the spiritual realm? What began to move around your name? What was written in light concerning your future? What the angels saw when your small act of love rose like incense before the throne is the very thing that is even now pressing against the veil of your life, waiting to break through in ways you never imagined, waiting to touch your finances, your relationships, your mind, your sleep, your environment, your next steps, waiting to manifest as a visible divine reversal of everything that once made you doubt that God could ever be this delighted with you, this proud of you, this eager to unfold blessings your past self would never have believed were meant for you. Because here is the truth rising like a drumbeat beneath everything you've lived through. None of it was random. Not the loneliness, not the financial strain that hit you right when you thought you were finally stable, not the betrayal from the one person you trusted, not the exhaustion that clung to your bones, not the midnight spiritual warfare that stole sleep from your eyes. Every attack had timing, every delay had purpose. Every heartbreak had precision. Chosen one. Heaven was not punishing you. Heaven was training you. You were being shaped into someone who could hold what is coming without collapsing under its weight. You were being forged into a vessel strong enough to carry abundance. You were being refined so the wealth, elevation, and generational blessing assigned to your name would not break you when it finally arrives. Think back. The moments that nearly crushed you, taught you discernment. The loneliness taught you how to hear God without interference. The betrayal sharpened your spiritual vision so clearly that no counterfeit will ever fool you again. The financial blockage forced your faith to grow into a weapon instead of a wish. The delays synchronized your timeline with heaven's breakthrough timing. Everything you thought was hindering you was actually preparing you. You were walking through the curriculum of the chosen. You were surviving the fire that shapes kings and queens. God was not ignoring you. He was equipping you. He was building a foundation deep enough to hold the elevation that is coming like a tidal wave, and heaven is whispering now. They are ready. If your spirit is stirring, if something in you feels like a lock clicking open, then beloved, tap subscribe right now. Tap it if you believe God is preparing to restore to you double everything you lost. Do not let the next revelation pass you by. What is coming is not motivational talk. It is divine strategy. It is spiritual architecture. It is preparation for wealth, purpose, and divine alignment, because you have endured enough. You have survived enough. You have cried enough. You have tolerated delay longer than heaven ever intended. And now God says, it is time to strike back. He has given me the most precise and divinely revealed strategies, the framework, the spiritual weapons, the blueprint, the set of instructions, the pathway you will walk to overturn this battle starting tonight. And the very first key begins with the discipline heaven has been trying to teach you all along, the discipline that turns a wounded heart into a weapon forged for destiny. The first protocol is called the alignment of the first breath. This is where everything shifts. Before you speak to anyone, before you scroll, before the world can place its weight on your shoulders, you must take spiritual authority over your atmosphere the moment you wake. The enemy has been striking you in the first moments of the morning because he knows that the tone of your day decides the tone of your destiny. So do this immediately when your eyes open. Place your hand over your chest and whisper, God, align my spirit before anything else aligns. Do not rush out of bed. Do not pick up your phone. Let your first breath become a declaration that today belongs to God. Not to anxiety, not to delay, not to generational curses pretending they still have access to you. As you breathe deeply, envision your spirit stepping back into divine alignment, your thoughts snapping into clarity, your emotions settling into peace. This single act dismantles spiritual warfare that tries to ambush you before you are fully awake. This single act announces to heaven and hell that you walk in spiritual authority now. This single act becomes the daily reset that accelerates your destiny, sharpens your purpose, and pulls breakthrough into your timeline with steadier force than any prayer you've ever prayed half asleep. The second protocol is called the clearing of the hidden gateways. There are entry points the enemy has used to drain your energy, distort your clarity, and slow your destiny acceleration without you realizing it. These are not dramatic portals. They are subtle, silent cracks in your boundaries. God needs you to close them intentionally, firmly, without apology. Begin by scanning your inner world. Notice the conversations that leave you anxious, the people who speak doubt into your dreams, the habits that dull your purpose, the social feeds that trigger comparison, the spiritual clutter that steals your focus. Heaven is showing you that these small leaks have created massive spiritual losses. So here's what you must stop doing immediately. Stop explaining yourself to people who are not aligned with your calling. Stop giving emotional access to those who have not earned your trust. Stop engaging in cycles that keep producing the same pain. Stop allowing the past to negotiate with your future. Then cleanse your physical space. Remove anything that carries emotional weight from old seasons. Sweep out the corners where heaviness hides. Open your windows and pray, God, clear the gateways of my life. As you do this, you will feel your atmosphere shift. You will regain spiritual clarity. You will sense momentum returning, and the fog that's been clouding your decisions will begin to lift. This protocol releases the destiny blockage that has been circling your life and restores the spiritual bandwidth you need for financial breakthrough, emotional healing, and divine alignment. The third protocol is called the command of the returning voice. For too long, Your inner dialogue has been shaped by wounds instead of prophecy, by memory instead of identity, by fear instead of truth. God is calling you to reclaim the voice inside your mind, the same voice the enemy tried to hijack with self-doubt, anxiety, and imposter syndrome. Here is how you take that voice back. Each time a thought rises that contradicts what God spoke over you, you address it out loud. Not silently, not passively, out loud. Say, "That is not my thought. That is not God's voice. I reject it." Then replace it with a declaration that aligns with heaven. I walk in purpose. I carry favor. My steps are ordered. My life is accelerating. Speak it boldly, even if your body trembles. Speak it firmly, even if you don't fully believe it yet. Because when you speak truth into the open air, you break the generational curse of silence that tried to mute your family line. When you speak truth, you overpower every whisper of delay that tried to coil itself around your path. When you speak truth, you activate a spiritual reversal that dissolves the lies your mind carried for years. This protocol restores your spiritual authority and resets your destiny trajectory, because heaven moves fastest when your voice finally agrees with what heaven already wrote about you long before the battle began. And once your voice aligns, the next movement in your spirit must follow, because authority is never meant to live only in your thoughts. It must express itself through disciplined action, sacred rhythm, and prophetic obedience. The fourth protocol is called the midnight cry of ownership. This is not ordinary prayer. This is strategic warfare executed during the hour where spiritual activity is highest and heaven's ear is closest. I'm talking about the moments between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. when you suddenly wake up without reason, when your chest feels heavy, when your spirit feels alert even though your mind feels exhausted. Those moments are not insomnia, they are summons. God wakes chosen ones during the night so they can reclaim what the enemy tried to steal during the day. If you feel the stirring, do not roll over. Sit up, put your feet on the floor, whisper his name. Then begin to pray, not begging prayers, not fearful prayers, but prayers of reclaiming. Say, God, I take back every blessing that slipped through my hands. I take back my clarity. I take back my alignment. I take back my acceleration. Cry if you must. Tears at midnight become weapons in spiritual warfare. Tears speak in a language the enemy cannot counterfeit. This midnight cry activates destiny acceleration. It breaks generational curses that attacked your family line in the dark. It calls angels to attention. And most of all, it tells heaven, you are no longer asleep in your own life. If you've ever felt that midnight stirring, pause right now and type in the comments, I rise when heaven calls. Let that declaration seal your readiness to step into authority that had been waiting for you to wake up. The fifth protocol is called the circle of silence. What God is building in you now requires privacy, precision, and protection. Too many chosen ones leak power by sharing their dreams with people who carry weak faith, competitive spirits, or hidden jealousy. Remember Joseph, his dream was true, but the timing of his speech was premature, and it triggered unnecessary warfare. Heaven is warning you gently. Do not speak your next move out loud. Not to friends who don't understand your spiritual sensitivity. Not to family members who minimize your calling. Not to co-workers who see your rising and feel threatened. Keep your strategies hidden. Keep your plans between you and God until the foundation is unshakable. Here's what you must do. Before you share anything, ask yourself, does this person protect my purpose or puncture it? If there is hesitation, stay silent. Create a circle of silence around your prayers, your wealth transfer plans, your visions, and your prophetic instructions. Silence is not secrecy. Silence is spiritual insulation. It keeps the enemy guessing. It keeps destiny thieves out of your garden. It keeps premature voices from poisoning seeds that are still forming roots. And as you practice this, you will feel something shift. Your clarity will sharpen, your emotional energy will stabilize, and your discernment will become razor sharp. The sixth protocol is called the toxic detox of spiritual boundaries. This is the moment where you begin removing the people, habits, and emotional agreements that have been anchoring you to old versions of yourself. Some connections were never meant to survive your elevation. Some voices were never meant to follow you into abundance. Some relationships were assigned to the older, wounded you, not the rising, aligned, restored you. Heaven is instructing you now. Release them. Release the ones who drain you. Release the ones who gaslight your discernment. Release the ones who show up with empty hands but expect full access to your spirit. You do not need dramatic conversations. You do not need to explain your boundaries. Simply step back, quietly, firmly, consistently. When someone begins to disrupt your peace, distance yourself. When you feel anxious after speaking to someone, that is a signal. When someone mocks your calling or questions your spiritual authority, that is a spiritual toxin hiding in human form. God needs your emotional field clean for the next level. This detox will feel strange at first. You may feel guilty, unsure, hesitant, but watch what happens next. Your creativity will return. Your inner peace will strengthen. Your financial breakthrough will accelerate because you are no longer spiritually hemorrhaging through broken connections. And as you release these weights, heaven begins to reveal. And as you release these weights, heaven begins to reveal the next layer of your transformation. Because cleansing your circle is only the beginning. Now God must cleanse the inner atmosphere where your breakthroughs take root. That is why the next movement in your spirit is rising with urgency. The seventh protocol is called the embargo on negative speech. Chosen one, listen closely. You cannot walk in destiny acceleration while speaking the language of delay. Some of the spiritual warfare you've been fighting hasn't come from demons. It has come from your own mouth agreeing with fear, scarcity, and exhaustion. Every time you say, "I'm tired," nothing works out. Maybe it's just not for me. You are unknowingly renewing contracts that God already broke. Heaven is training your tongue because your words are spiritual technologies. What you speak builds or destroys. What you speak summons angels or invites interference. So here is what you must do starting tonight. Issue a full embargo on negative speech. Not one self-insult. Not one confession of defeat. Not one agreement with lack. Replace "I'm struggling" with "I'm being strengthened." Replace "I'm stuck" with "God is repositioning me." Replace "I can't afford it" with "provision is on the way." This is not delusion. This is alignment. Your vocabulary must match your prophecy. Pause here and comment. My words build my future. When you type it, you break the generational curse of hopeless language that has echoed through your bloodline. And once your speech shifts, your reality follows. The eighth protocol is called the environment shift. Blessings do not flow into clutter. Clutter isn't just physical, it is spiritual static. It blocks clarity, delays manifestation, and keeps the mind in survival mode instead of divine alignment. Look around your home. Look at the piles, the closets you avoid, the drawers filled with pieces of old seasons. Every item you keep out of guilt or fear of the past is anchoring you to cycles you prayed to escape. God is telling you clearly, clean your space as a prophetic act. Start with one corner, one drawer, one surface. As you remove old items, speak out loud. I release everything that no longer serves my destiny. Let your hands become instruments of breakthrough. When you clean, you are not being productive, you are clearing spiritual pathways. You are making room for financial breakthrough. You are signaling to heaven that you are ready for new things, new opportunities, new abundance, new people, new peace. When you shift your environment, your mind resets, your spirit breathes, your home becomes a sanctuary instead of a battlefield. And as heaven begins to move you into this deeper purification, there is a shift happening inside you that you can feel, even if you cannot yet explain it. It feels like a tightening of focus, a quiet seriousness, a spiritual alertness that says, pay attention, something is being prepared. Because once God cleanses your circle and your environment, He turns His attention to the inner architecture of your spirit, the part of you where every breakthrough is born or blocked. Now you are ready for the next discipline, the next refinement, the next elevation in the divine protocol. The 9th protocol is called the vision audit. What you look at, listen to, and feed your mind becomes the blueprint your spirit builds from. And for too long, the enemy has been slipping into your life through the subtleties, through the music you play without thinking, through the shows that dull your discernment, through the news cycles that fill your subconscious with fear, scarcity, anxiety, and confusion. Heaven is saying, control your gates. Your eyes and ears are spiritual gateways. When you expose them to chaos, your spirit becomes chaotic. When you expose them to fear, your faith becomes diluted. When you expose them to noise, your destiny becomes harder to hear. So you must begin a vision audit. Look at everything you consume and ask, does this align with the future God is building inside me? If the answer is no, release it, silence it, replace it with words that build, worship that elevates, teachings that sharpen, and images that remind you of who you are becoming. A chosen one cannot feast on confusion and expect clarity of purpose. This is the season where your focus becomes holy. The 10th protocol is called the Sabbath rest of restoration. Beloved, you have been fighting for so long that you forgot rest is warfare too. The enemy's goal has been to keep you constantly tired emotionally, mentally, spiritually, because an exhausted warrior cannot hear strategy. A weary prophet cannot receive revelation. A drained heart cannot hold blessing. God is calling you into intentional rest, not laziness, not procrastination, but holy restoration. One day a week, step away from the grind. No planning, no fixing, no solving, no hustling. Let your nervous system reset. Let your spiritual frequency rise again. Sit in silence. Walk outside. Breathe deeply. Let the pressure slip off of you long enough for your creativity, intuition, and prophetic sensitivity to return. Rest is how you reclaim the pieces of yourself that battle tried to burn out. And when you rest, you create space for destiny acceleration, because God speaks clearest to still hearts. The 11th protocol is called the altar of praise. This is not the praise you offer when things are good. This is the praise that rises from the ashes of your life, the praise that confuses the enemy, the praise that shifts atmospheres. When you praise during pain, you create a weapon the enemy cannot decode. When you worship while waiting, you release divine alignment into your situation. When you lift your hands even though life feels heavy, you break generational curses that tried to silence your family line. Here is how you apply it. Choose one moment each day to stop everything, whether you feel spiritual or not, and say, God, I praise you for what I cannot see yet. Do it even with tears in your eyes. That single act builds an altar in the unseen realm, and altars attract fire. Altars attract breakthrough. Altars attract intervention. Praise is the sound of surrender and victory at the same time. It is the language of those heaven trusts with abundance. And when you begin to live these protocols, something in the spiritual realm starts shifting in your favor. But hear me now, chosen one. None of this matters if you cannot remain consistent. This is where most destinies collapse. Not from lack of revelation, not from lack of anointing, not from lack of desire. They collapse because the fire that burns bright on day 1 begins to flicker by day 3. The enemy doesn't need to defeat you if he can simply wait for your discipline to cool. He knows most people start strong and fade quickly. You've done this before. You felt the surge of clarity, the rush of spiritual awakening, the excitement of breakthrough, and then life pressed you. Distractions returned, emotions shifted, and without realizing it, you drifted back into old rhythms. Not because you were weak, not because you were unworthy, but because no empire stands without consistency. Empires fall not through invasion, but through neglect. Destiny is lost not through sabotage, but through forgetfulness. Your anointing doesn't die with a scream, it dies with a slow fade. That is why heaven is warning you now. Do not let these divine instructions become a momentary spark. Do not let this awakening be another phase. Do not let your spirit burn hot tonight and cold by the weekend. These are not temporary habits. These are foundations. These are pillars. These are spiritual rhythms that build unstoppable momentum when practiced daily. But here is the mercy of God. He never expected you to do any of this through willpower alone. Human strength collapses under pressure. Human resolve melts under warfare. Human discipline falters when the soul grows weary. That is why God sent you a helper. The Holy Spirit is not a distant voice. He is the strength behind every step you take. He is the breath that steadies you when anxiety rises. He is the whisper that reminds you, keep going, I am with you. He is the power that turns small efforts into supernatural acceleration. Lean on him. Ask him to hold you when you feel tired. Ask him to remind you when your mind wanders. Ask him to carry you when you feel you cannot carry yourself, because breakthrough is not maintained by striving. Breakthrough is maintained by surrender, and destiny alignment is impossible without the Spirit guiding every movement of your heart. Now listen closely. You have been armed. You have been equipped. Heaven has placed weapons, rhythms, and divine blueprints into your hands. All these weapons have now been placed in your hands, but there is one final key that activates them. Without this key, nothing ignites. That key is the sealing prayer. We are about to step into the Holy of Holies. Prepare your heart, beloved. Let the noise fall away. Let the weight slide from your shoulders. Let the atmosphere around you shift into something holy, something tender, something alive with God's nearness. Before we step in, before a single word of the sealing prayer is released, change your posture. Place one hand over your heart. Let the other rest open, as if you are ready to receive. Close your eyes slowly. Breathe gently, deeply, as though you're inhaling the very presence of God. You are not doing this for theatrics. You are doing this because posture is prophecy. Your body is telling heaven, I am here. I am listening. I am ready. Now, let us step quietly, reverently, into the Holy of Holies. The atmosphere is different here, softer, slower, heavier with glory. Every word must be carried carefully, like light cupped in trembling hands. And because this message has been about God seeing you, being delighted in you, receiving your obedience, honoring your sacrifice, guiding you through delays, and aligning your destiny, we call him now by the name that fits the revelation. Chosen ones, the God who sees me. Let the prayer begin in a whisper. Chosen ones, thank you for seeing this precious soul. Thank you for watching every hidden moment, every quiet obedience, every trembling yes that no one else recognized. Chosen ones, we come before you slowly, softly, knowing that you have already drawn near. You have already bent low to listen. Your eyes have never left us. Your heart has never turned away. We thank you for the kind of love that notices the tears wiped away before anyone else wakes, the small acts of kindness done without applause, the battles fought in silence, the faith held together with shaking hands. We thank you for seeing the struggle, the delay, the spiritual warfare, the loneliness, the misunderstandings, the attacks that came without warning, the pressure that nearly broke them, and still calling them chosen. God, who sees. Breathe on them now. Let the room around them still. Let the air thicken with your nearness. Let their heart feel the warmth of your gaze resting on them. Chosen ones, you see the places where they feel tired. You see the corners of their soul they hide from the world. You see the wounds they carry without complaint. You see the dreams they guard quietly because they've been hurt before. And you are not disappointed. You are not impatient. You are not withdrawing from them. You are drawing them closer. So now, Lord, as they sit with a hand over their heart, as they breathe in your presence, as they surrender this holy moment to you, meet them. Meet them in the places where words fail. Meet them in the places where fear still whispers. Meet them in the places where hope has been slow to return. We thank you for being the God who sees us fully and still chooses us completely. Chosen ones, look upon this heart. Look upon this life. Look upon every place that feels fragile or unfinished. Let your gaze heal what their strength could never mend. Pour into them now that quiet assurance, that sacred knowing, that whisper of divine delight that lets them finally exhale. Because you see them, you have always seen them. And in this moment, you are looking at them with, and in this gaze, chosen ones, let every hidden battle rise into your light, because now we move deeper. Now we step into the realms where chains break, where darkness trembles, where the authority you placed on this chosen one comes alive. Chosen ones, as you look upon them with love, I now call upon the breaker anointing. By the authority of the living God, I decree that every generational curse that has stalked their family line, every cycle of poverty, delay, heartbreak, self-doubt, addiction, fear, sabotage, or spiritual blindness, break now. I command the chains their parents could not break to break through them. I command the patterns their grandparents carried to end with them. I command every spirit that has whispered, "You will be just like them," to fall silent under the weight of divine truth. This is the bloodline warrior moment. This is where heaven draws a line and declares, "It stops here." Chosen ones, release your breaker anointing like a hammer of light. Strike every invisible shackle. Strike every familiar spirit that tries to reopen old wounds. Strike every chain forged in secret places. Let this beloved soul feel the snap, the clean, holy, irreversible snap of cycles ending in their body, in their breath, in their lineage, in their lifetime. Chosen ones, now, as the chains shatter, raise the divine hedge around their life. Not a hedge of twigs or sentiment, but a wall of fire built by the Lord of hosts himself. A firewall that no curse can cross. A barrier that no monitoring spirit can penetrate. A shield that no jealous eye, no envious heart, no hidden attacker can slip through. Surround their home, surround their children, surround their finances, surround their sleep. Let there be fire at every window, glory at every doorframe, angels at every corner, light in every shadow. Every nighttime attack, every suffocating dream, every demonic whisper, every spiritual intrusion is banned from their atmosphere now. I decree their home becomes untouchable, their spirit becomes guarded, their destiny becomes off limits to the enemy. And chosen ones, as the fire forms around them, as the hedge rises, I now silence every lying voice that has tormented their mind. I decree the enemy's silencer over their thoughts. Every whisper of fear be silenced. Every echo of self-hatred be silenced. Every accusation telling them they are not enough be silenced. Every counterfeit thought pretending to be their own voice be silenced. God, who sees, let your truth rise louder than the noise. Let your voice override every lie. Let your peace drown out every fear. I bind the spirit of confusion. I bind the spirit of dread. I bind the spirit of anxiety. I bind the spirit of panic that hits out of nowhere. And I loose clarity. I loose confidence. I loose holy boldness. I loose the mind of Christ. Let their inner world fall quiet, quiet like still water, quiet like dawn breaking over a calm horizon, quiet enough for your whisper to be unmistakable. Because now, chosen ones, now that they stand protected, freed, and surrounded, the next wave of your presence is drawing near. And now, chosen ones, as this wave of your presence settles over them like warm light, as every chain lies broken, as every whisper of fear falls silent, we bring this holy moment to its close, not in haste, not in fear, but in certainty, in steadiness, in the knowing that heaven has heard and heaven has moved. So now, with the same authority that has carried every word of this prayer, with the same weight that broke curses, with the same fire that raised the hedge, with the same truth that silenced the enemy, I seal this moment. It is done. It is established. It is sealed in the courts of heaven. Let nothing undo what God has spoken. Let nothing reverse what heaven has decreed. Let nothing infiltrate what has been covered in light. This prayer stands. This covering holds. This breakthrough begins now. And beloved, if this prayer touched you, if something in you shifted, if peace rose where fear once lived, subscribe, not for the sake of a channel, but to remain connected to the same flow that just moved through your spirit. Subscribe to stay aligned with the next instruction heaven releases over your life. There is more coming, more guidance, more clarity, more prophetic covering, and I don't want you to miss a single word. Heaven speaks next. Now, for those who feel it in your heart, those who sense the gravity of this moment, those who know something sacred just took place, there is a way to mark this moment in the spirit, not to buy a blessing, not to earn favor, but to place a stone of remembrance at the foot of this encounter, a symbolic gesture that says, God met me here, God moved for me here, and I honor this turning point. If you feel led, use the super thanks as your altar, not a transaction, a testimony, a way of saying, I am anchoring this breakthrough in my story. This is my remembrance stone to the God who sees me. And now, beloved soul, breathe, lift your head gently, feel the calm settling into your chest. You are walking into your destiny. You are stepping into alignment. God is moving, and He is not done with you yet.